Trojans. Battle Suffolk's #1, the undefeated Ward Melville Patriots. It's the game that lacrosse fans have been waiting for, and it's next on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network. Our telecast is being brought to you by Apple Bank, we're good for you, and by Adelphi University, where real learning is an art. Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Tom Flatley, on a cloudy, windy evening here at Hofstra University. Tom, it's a showdown, as indeed lacrosse fans have been waiting for. Two outstanding teams, dramatic victories in their games to get here in county championships. Garden City, an overtime win over a very game Farmingdale club. And, of course, perennial Ward Melville, the champs in Suffolk after beating Walt Whitman. What can we look for tonight?
Well, Barry, you get the #2 ranked team in the state in Ward Melville and #4 in Garden City, and the teams are about as evenly matched as you can get. Both teams play zone defense. The fans will see a little different zone from Ward Melville with a little more pressure and a little more shut-off on the wings. Both teams have two fine midfields. Probably, if you got to give an edge in the midfield, it's probably got to be the ability of Andy Rouse and his face-off ability. Both teams have outstanding attacks. Ward Melville's a little hampered tonight by an injury to Krista Largy. And both have people who can put the ball in the cage from the attack and the midfield. Your goalies, maybe a slight edge to Ward Melville.
All right, let's talk about the Garden City club, the dramatic victory. Rob Griffith, of course, got the big goals, but Paul Basile, a guy who had 92 assists up to the last game, scored 2 goals, not only showing his ability to feed others, but score himself. What do you like about Paul Basile?
Paul Basile plays with his head up. That means when he comes out of his dodge, he's always looking into the crease where he's got outstanding people to look for. He's a key man tonight. To beat a good zone, you got to feed from behind to a lot of cutters, and Basile's got to get through 3 or 4 assists, I think, at least tonight on all-even offense for Garden City to win.
Well, one of the guys who'll be looking for, of course, is Scott Hiller. As far as the midfield is concerned, you got to talk about Rob Griffith and the just tremendous performance. He scored the tying goal with just about a minute left in regulation, and of course, in sudden death overtime, got the game winner.
Well, Rob Griffith is a 3-sport athlete, excelled in football and basketball, and also an outstanding lacrosse player and a fine student, as we talked about going to Harvard. He got 1 goal just on sheer alertness on a rebound off a deflected pass. Farmingdale made a good play. Griffith picked it up and put it in the cage. And the last goal was certainly under great pressure when he swept in the sudden death overtime and put it in the cage.
Of course, Ward Melville has a tremendous attack led by Mark Tomillo and Chris Mott, and DeLarge, as you mentioned, will be out. And it'll be interesting to see if John Wilkins will see a lot more action tonight. He's their all-county midfielder who missed about 10 games with a severe injury to his ankle, but he looks a lot better. We watched him in warm-up earlier, and he should see a lot of action. Speaking of the midfield, it was the midfield that really came alive for Ward Melville. First of all, Tom Burns, kind of an unsung hero on that second midfield. He got 2 goals, the 6th and 7th goals as he broke the 5-5 tie.
Barry, one was when they were man down, when he just cleared the ball up by himself and kept going on a headlong rush to the goal. He's only had 12 goals all year, but 2 of them, as you mentioned, came in crucial times. Now, he's also, you know, the typical Ward Melville midfielder. He's strong, he's fast, he picks up loose balls, and he plays good defense when he's in there also.
Well, you talk about typical midfielders. You've got the Kelly brothers, identical twins. Tom Kelly banged up. He's going to be playing with a flak jacket on his ribs. He's number 20, or rather number 10. And number 20, his brother Mike Kelly had a hat trick, 3 big goals the other night.
Well, Tom Kelly plays mostly on the crease, and it's awful tough playing inside when you have rib injuries. But Mike Kelly got an awful lot of goals and opportunities last time against the man-to-man defense. Garden City zone might cause him problems, but I remember before when you mentioned Wilkins. You might see a lot more Wilkins tonight because he's probably got the fastest shot in either county.
All right, so the stage is set for tonight's showdown as the #1 teams in Nassau and Suffolk are getting ready, and our colleague Carl Reuter returns with a chat with both coaches in just a moment. You're watching the Long Island Sports Network.
Melville coach Joe Cuso, and Joe, you go up against Doc Doherty's club, the Garden City club. They come off an emotional win the other night against Farmingdale for the Nassau County Championship. But what about your Ward Melville club? 4 consecutive years, that Suffolk County Championship. Does it get sweeter each year?
It gets sweeter, but it doesn't get any easier.
But what about tonight? Now, you mentioned to me a couple of minutes ago, you're going to play your normal game, which means a lot of zone, especially on defense.
Right, well, we're basically a pressure zone team. We're not going to change. We're going to try to continue to do what we do best and hope it's good enough.
Joe, what about at home when you think about a game like this the last couple of nights? How much mental preparation does Joe Cuso put in?
Quite a bit. It's always in the back of your mind. You're always planning strategies, thinking about how you're going to stop what they like to do, you know, hoping that your offense is on, that the timing is on, that you're going to play good defense, that the breaks will go your way. There's a lot of planning involved.
How much change do you go through when all that planning seems to falter at the outset, and all of a sudden you have to alter your game plan?
Well, you just try to go back to, again, to what you do best. You know, you try not to change too much going into a big game. If you do, I think you're kind of playing into the other team's hands. So it's strength against strength at this point.
Okay, the other night, the Suffolk and Nassau County Championships were played here. It was a messy night, rain and wind. Right now, it's threatening skies. What happens if it does come down here during the course of the game? Will it affect either team?
I think it'll have the same effect on both teams. You know, we both had the experience of playing in it the other day. Footing, I don't believe, is a problem. This is an outstanding surface, and the traction is fine. It might affect the offensive moves to the cage. It might affect the stick handling a little bit. But I think these are two quality teams, highly skilled teams, and I don't think it'll have that great of an effect on the game.
Okay, one last question. How tough is it for a coach to bring the guys down? They're on cloud nine, that emotional high. How do you bring them down and prepare them mentally for a tough Garden City club?
Well, Wednesday, we were very easy and very light on them. We were tired and emotionally down after winning the county championship. Yesterday, we had another light practice. I think just the nature of the game is a stimulus in itself, and we don't do much to hype them up, so to speak. We just try to make sure they're aware of their assignments and try to maintain a positive attitude.
Joe, best of luck in a real big ball game.
Thank you, Carl.
Joe Cuso, the coach of Ward Melville, has been my guest, and we'll be back with the opening face-off for tonight's Long Island Championship lacrosse game between Ward Melville and Garden City following this timeout. You're watching the Long Island Sports Network.
In the Marriott Hotel at that Ferris wheel, part of, I guess, a little bit of a circus going on at the Nassau Coliseum parking lot. And we are here at Hofstra as our camera pans back, and we've got a great game. Paul Daugherty, you've joined us, and let's take a look at the goalies here. Tom Kepton, Ward Melville, of course, will be going to Adelphi next year, and John Fuller of Garden City. A lot of people, both Tom and I, talked to a lot of people, feel the goalies could be the difference, Paul Daugherty, in this game.
I agree very much. I think the teams are very well balanced. The only other outstanding edge that might be to one team would be possibly the face-off man, but the hot goalie may determine it tonight.
Of those two goalies, of course, you know Kempton well. You've scouted him a lot. He seems to be the more experienced goalie. Fuller at times is hot and cold. He can be like the girl with the curls we said the other night. When he's good, he's very, very good. He can play out of his mind. Other times he's inconsistent and will let in a goal.
Well, they're both good athletes and intense kids, and this is a big game for them, and obviously they'll be up for it tonight.
Let's take a look at the road to the championship for these two clubs. And for Garden City, 21-1. As you can see, they beat Calhoun, East Meadow Division, and Farmingdale dramatically 7-6. And for Ward Melville, their big win over Smithtown East in the semifinals, and then beating Whitman, coming up with a big second half, 8-5. By the way, they've had one common opponent this year. Ward Melville beat Levittown Division 17-2 in the third game of the year. And of course, Levittown Division was the only team to beat Garden City this year, and that came a dramatic game, a one-goal game. However, Garden City avenged that loss and beat him in the playoffs the other day. So we're just about set to go. It is Ward Melville in white against Garden City in maroon. Andy Krause is the face-off man, and will be showing the officials. They're all from out of the area. Gene Fitzpatrick from the Albany area, John McCleary from Westchester, Dave Miller Jr. from Westchester also, and we have a chief bench official, Skip Sensieri from Albany. On a violation on the face-off, the ball will go over to Ward Melville. So Andy Krause, the man who they have to stop, and we'll have Kelly. It's going to be a key matchup. Kelly, outstanding player in his own right, will be going to Penn against Andy Krause, the great junior, who won 15 of 19 faceoffs the other day against Farmingdale. So Ward Melville on the attack. We'll identify him. The Kelly brothers, 20-10, will play in the midfield. And now we see Wilkins is in the ball game starting, I believe, as they work it from behind. This is Mark Tamillo, who was cut off. But Chris DeLargy, their leading assist man, their leading feeder, not in the lineup. He got hurt against Smithtown East, did not play the other night. There's Chip Mayer, who got the big first goal the other night to get them started, number 24. He is a fine basketball player. And that's Kelly, Mike Kelly, number 20, weaving his way, bouncing in. Fuller knocked it down, and it'll be cleared on the far side by number 43, Peter Bennett, as he'll drop it back here to Mark Coleman. Let's talk about the rides, because both teams employ these very tough zone rides.
Well, they're playing a shut-off up on the attack here. They're going to play a little bit tough up there and try to zone behind them.
Ward Melville comes up with the loose balls. They had trouble clearing. This is Kelly, has it checked nicely away from behind by 44 there. Nice defensive play by Mark Burchill. And back comes Garden City. They've got a little bit of the edge and speed as Kraus will take it down the near sideline. Kraus cutting behind, working against Chip Mayer. He'll drop it off, and they'll work it around. Garden City with the ball for the first time. That's Robert Griffith, the hero of the game the other night with the 2 goals, the tying and winning goal, as they'll swing it around. Number 11 is Hiller. He wore number 17, you'll recall, the other night. That's Basile, number 16. Back it'll go to Kraus as they work 2 men from behind.
Barry, they're just changing up their formation all the time. They've had 2 different cutters so far and swung a different man behind.
Ryan Sullivan is number 32. Griffith working in the midfield with Sullivan. Now they set up 1 man in the crease as they work the ball there. Excellent sticks, both clubs, but that's lost over there and recovered by Billy Duran, who had a big goal the other night. 36 goals on the year for Duran. Ward Melville very aggressive on that zone defense. Tom, maybe you could talk about it as we get an opportunity throughout the evening as Garden City controls again. Back out Hiller. A bounce shot by Duran goes over the cage, and they have backer help. It'll be Garden City ball.
Well, Barry, Ward Melville sometimes will set off the men next to the ball, which forces you to pass by him. Some people call it skip pass or just bypass a man. And then what you want to do is try to cut a man into the crease and maybe pop a man from the wing behind. You don't want to sit in one formation where they know you're at.
Garden City has made changes in the midfield. We'll pick him up. Basile cutting from behind, looks out in front, looking for Hiller. That's that great combination. Hiller was shut out the other night, Paul Darnay. He really wasn't in the game very much.
Well, a crease attack man is always dependent on how well his feeders are doing, and the other night, it wasn't a night for feeders.
Here's a look at Hiller, 79 goals, and he has tremendous record. He has 79. You can only 3 other players ahead of him all time. Timmy Worstel and, of course, his brother, and the other guys right there. You can see Jack Heim and then Scott Hiller at 79. So he has a chance with a couple of goals tonight to tie Heim and move up on the all-time Nassau County single-season scoring record. That's a remarkable record for one player. Now, how about the ride of the Garden City club?
Garden City's playing a zone ride, pretty deep and pretty soft on the attack. They're not playing them very hard, allowing them to make passes, but not allowing them to make the easy pass in the middle to clear it.
They do have a defenseman up there, Paul. Pete Penn will be the man that comes up.
Turnover as Garden City now has the ball. They'll play it along the near sideline. Basile, number 16, will cut behind as he's working against number 8. And that's Coleman. Tim Coleman, number 8, the midi, dropping it out in front, and they shot high, deflected by the goalie. Good play that time by the keeper. And that's cross past Basile with a great goal over his shoulder. A back goal. And Basile showing his ability, and we talked about his assist ability. 92 assists earlier. He shows he can score. He had 2 the other night, and he gives Garden City the early lead.
Barry, he didn't have much of an angle, and the only way he could really throw that one was behind his back, because he picked that loose ball up as it was going behind the cage. But what it really was an alert ride by Garden City, which forced a turnover after Ward Melville attempted and had made a nice save.
So the all-county soccer player will be going to the Naval Academy along with a couple of other players. Scores the time 3:16, and Garden City has the early lead. Paul, we saw Garden City play rather flat first half, fall behind Farmingdale. They don't want to fall behind this Ward Melville team tonight.
Well, it's very difficult to play catch-up against such an aggressive zone defense. Both teams use this very similar zone defense with a lot of aggression and a backer, so they're pretty well matched defensively.
Kraus won that face-off from Kelly. And now Garden City looking to go up by 2 as they have taken the lead here 1-0 on the goal by Basile. His 35th of the year. That's thrown away in the midfield, but weather conditions so much better. The field in excellent shape. Duran with that excellent speed chases it down. Here's Duran moving, and he lost the ball. Transition break now. Kelly coming up the middle. He's got help. Crossfield it'll go. Good look out in front, and a nice save by Fuller as he stopped Mark Tamillo rather in front. So Tamillo stopped on a beautiful save by Fuller that time. Tom Flatley.
Tamillo made a real nice move, meeting the ball and got the shot off, but Fuller came up big. That's 2 out of 2 for him tonight. And it's always important to make a saves early because that gives you the confidence for the night.
Nearly stolen away by Ward Melville's aggressive riding there, but it's recovered. And back comes Garden City. Ward Melville's number 6, Kevin Riley, the attacking attackman, stole that ball away, but it got back. And here's Robert Griffith working on Chip Mayer.
Garden City's got to break the second man out behind the cutoff man.
Here's Duran swinging it to the right wing. Basile cutting behind. He's excellent from that position. He'll come out in front, gets the shot off, knocked down. And as they race for the ball behind, Kempton swat it. And it'll be off Kempton, goes out of bounds. And it will be Garden City ball. They'll make substitutions in the midfield once again. We're seeing something that we saw the other night. Garden City with the winning face-offs, controlling the ball territorially, Paul and Tom. They've had the edge in the last 2 games we've seen.
Well, that's a tremendous advantage. That's why some coaches say maybe you shouldn't have a face-off, but it adds a lot of excitement to the game. The first one he lost tonight, I think, was a disputed call.
All right, the look out by Basile as they'll work it outside. Jerry Craig, 24, out there with the second unit, along with Tully, 22. And number 32 is Brian Sullivan. Excellent second unit. Duran. Look at the good movement of the ball, and a score. Beautifully set up for Jerry Craig, number 24. His 14th goal of the year, and you couldn't ask for better ball movement against the zone defense, Tom.
No, they had their heads spinning in there. You keep moving the ball, and people keep looking for the ball in the zone, and they don't find the cutters. And this is what we talked about before. You'll see Craig make a fine cut from the top, straight down, handles the ball well in traffic. Of course, Basile put the feed right on his shoulder. And I think the fans probably noticed that ball hit right inside the pipe, got a little bit of the pipe.
And we'll have a timeout taken by Garden City. That goal coming at 5:15. Basile scored at 3:16 to give Garden City the 1-0 lead, and Jerry Craig at 5:15 to give him a 2-0 lead. Of course, this is the first Long Island championship for Garden City since 1966. That's the last time they won the Nassau County Championship. And of course, they won it earlier in the 40s when they could have called it the Long Island Championship. There weren't too many teams playing.
It was the Metropolitan Lacrosse League then, Barry,
right,
pretty much, and it went from Peekskill out to Huntington.
They won it 44, 46, and 48. In 66, they beat East Meadow by a score of 10-5, and then lost to Huntington 10-8 in the Long Island Championship game. But Ward Melville's been there, and Paul, a club that has the experience of Ward Melville, the poise. They've been in the Long Island Championship. This is their 4th straight year. They've won the county championship 4 years in a row. 2-goal lead. They don't fold right now.
No, as a matter of fact, it wasn't Ward Melville that called the timeout to regroup. It was, in fact, Garden City that called the timeout. I think on that last goal, one factor may be that they took a little bit of advantage of John Wilkins, who's been out with a bum ankle, and it was John who got beat on the cut.
Well, you can see the Nassau single-season assist leaders. Tom Engelke, Tom, of course, played for your great club, Sewanaka, back in '81. Bob Boniello played for Division. He had a total of 92 assists in Basile, currently with 92. But if he keeps scoring goals, he's not going to get a chance to break that record, will he?
I think he had an assist on that last goal, so we knock him up one more, closer to the top.
All right, so we'll put that up on the board. Look at Krause battling for that face-off. Who's going to come up with it? Yep, it's Garden City as he came up with that face-off as he was battling for it.
He and Wilkins really went at it that time.
Well, Wilkins with that ankle, not able to push off maybe. Now Coleman intercepts. And he has it checked away beautifully by Basile from behind, and Hiller has it. So Garden City looking awfully good in the first 6 minutes of play here. They lead it 2-0, and they've had the territorial edge. This is Krause. Now over to Griffith. They've got the #1 midfield unit back in. Could not be handled by Duran, who's playing with this unit. Now they'll work it behind. Basile looking out in front, and a score! Beautiful set up to Andy Krause.
The backside, Barry, is always a weak spot in most zones, and that's exactly what they found right there.
So a shocker taking place right now. Garden City, the club that had to come from behind the other day to beat Farmingdale, leading now 3-0.
You see right here, this goes across the back of the cage, and most goalies got a piece of it, but goalies have to help, I think, on the backside, Paul.
Well, he does have to help, and in fact, he did on that. He got a piece of it, and it was great reactions on Krause's part to grab it and put it in. I think you're seeing basically a clinic here by both teams offensively, certainly by Garden City.
I think they have to get more pressure on Basile, or they're going to have a long night.
27th goal for Andy Krause. It comes at exactly 6 minutes, and Garden City leading 3-0. Of course, this Ward Melville team explosive. They averaged over 13 goals a game. They give up only 3.8, but we saw them struggle early against Walt Whitman. They gave up 3 first-period goals.
Well, I remember a couple years ago, Farmingdale came out of the box big against them, and everybody thought Farmingdale was going to blow them out, and Ward Melville came on and beat them.
Well, as you can see, Garden City really has outscored. They've blown away the opposition in 22 games this year, 296-91. So far, Garden City 6 shots, Ward Melville just 2. Melville trying to get back in the game, trailing 3-0. Mott now working outside. Nobody behind the cage. Now they'll send a man back there. It was Riley. Again, you can't discount the loss of a DeLargy, who is not in the lineup tonight. It hurt him on the attack They had to get their goals from the midfield the other night. And as their midfielders Tamillo tried to make a move in front, he lost it. Alertly picked up, lost by Mott. And the big stick defenseman will play it there behind the cage. Peter Bennett, he'll clear it up the sideline. And we get our first whistle here. And it looks like
loose ball interference. To go to Garden City. That nice check before was made by Mark Coleman, Barry.
Here are the officials, all from the upstate area. And one of those, Tom Flatley, you know quite well.
Well, Jack McCleary was a classmate of mine. He's one of the umpires tonight, working on the near side of the field. He's a fine athlete, Mr.
This is a quarterfinal in the New York State tournament. Yorktown is playing, or played this afternoon, and expected to have won their game. Of course, the only loss Yorktown suffered was against Ward Melville this year. 9-8 game. And the winner of this game will play Yorktown at West Point Tuesday at West Point at 5 o'clock.
Nice look.
Rouse with an opportunity, and it's knocked down. So Garden City, I've been impressed, Paul Darty, with their movement of the ball.
Well, both teams play the same defense, and one of the beauties of the defense is that other teams get intimidated by it, but they see it every day at practice.
Now working as Basile against Byrne, number 3. It's recovered by Griffith. Looks to feed from behind, but Kempton with a good interception, and he'll clear it up to Kelly. Need Kelly to get going. He was their big guy the other night with 3 goals. Back to his brother Tom, moving in. Return feed goes astray as it was intended for Chris Mott. And they turn it over right there. And a good opportunity for a possible transition goal.
Well, they've had a 5-on-4 that time, Barry, and 4-on-3 before, and you got to score 50% when you get those kind of opportunities.
Oh, with 2:31 to go on the sideline, Doc Doherty, and he's got to be enjoying things at his 17th year. And, of course, he was just a little tight. I guess he was graduating high school the last time under Coach Silvestri that Garden City won a championship in '66.
I don't think Doc's that young when he graduated.
Well, he said he was 43. Big stick. Here's Alfine moving down, and it checked away. Another big defensive play. That time it was Sullivan, the midfielder, number 32, who made the big play, Paul.
One of the things that happens to you when you've been playing so much defense, your attack is a little cold, they're a little anxious, they want to get that goal immediately, they don't want to be patient. And sometimes it causes a lot of turnovers until you settle down.
Well, Garden City has better speed overall than Ward Melville, and they're taking advantage of some of their speed tonight. Here's Craig on the right wing, moving in. Bounce shot broken up in front. Elfine after it. As the ball goes down on the floor there, we have a call made by the official.
We have a Ward Melville man shaking up there, too. I think he stopped that last shot with his body. Right, the backer in the zone does get hit a few times.
John Russell, number 23, was in on that last play, so it'll be Garden City putting it in play, leading with 1:38 to go.
Garden City's going to a circle-type offense here, but you'll see people cut.
They've inverted. Duran, the midfielder, taking Byrne, the defenseman, behind. Duran against the checking of Byrne. Byrne with that big stick, that long pole dislodged it. This play by Tom Byrne, number 3. And now they try to come across as they're on the move. Ward Melville here. Chris Wakey, number 11 in the ball game, as they play it behind. Tamillo trying to dodge away, lost the ball against Jim Regan, number 41. And Regan on the far side will play it. As he's checked by Riley. And they'll drop it off, so there's a good riding pressure here. Oh, Riley nearly intercepted that pass. Fuller, who gambles, comes out. And we're going to have a call made here by the officials. We've got an interference on Fuller.
I think he pointed the wrong way, the official, at first. That might confuse the fans, but Fuller came out and interfered by throwing a check when his man had possession.
Riley was the man, number 6, Kevin Riley, who was putting the pressure on back there, so it will be Garden City ball.
Garden
I
City,
checked that Ward Melville ball, I beg your pardon.
Garden City's open man, Barry, has to break to the ball to help out. Ward Melville's putting good pressure on the 3 attacking.
Both teams at even strength. It's just possession right here for Ward Melville as we're under a minute to go in this first quarter. As Mott, who's been cut off well in the last couple of games, both against Walt Whitman and tonight, works the ball. Chris Mott, 5'9" senior, will be going to Adelphi. Back out it comes to Kelly. This is Mike Kelly with 27 goals. His brother Tom has 30, number 10. Over to Mott, who's playing out front. Moving some of the attackmen out front.
They're almost in a 3-3 offense, Barry, with nobody behind against this zone here.
There isn't an awful lot of ball movement off the ball. I think that you really have to move those people who aren't in control of the ball. to create problems for that zone defense.
You got to get a shot off, Barry. You may as well let it go.
6 seconds, down to 5. Kelly not able to move in. He'll take the bounce shot from outside. It's wide as the quarter will come to an end, I believe. It's all Garden City at the end of one. The Trojans looking for the Long Island Championship, leading Ward Melville by a score of 3-0. We'll be right back. You're watching the Long Island Sports Network.
Hi, everybody. I'm Barry Landers with Jerry McDougall, president of Apple Bank. You know, Jerry, you and I share something more than just this basketball. We share our concern and interest in Long Island youth.
No question about it, Barry. We at Apple Bank feel very much a part of the Long Island community. And as such, we want to show our support for these young people who are not only the future of Long Island, but we think the future of our country.
Apple Bank for Savings with 5 Long Island locations in Manhasset, Syosset, East Massapequa, Greenlawn, and Smithtown. Member FDIC.
The spirit lives on with pride in the past and footsteps to the future.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country.
In these young people, America is celebrating a spirit that has contributed to the character of our nation for more than 75 years. This year, the Boy Scouts of America will celebrate their Diamond Jubilee. Be part of Scouting, because America is returning to the values Boy Scouts never left.
We're back as you watch Joe Cuso and Bill Martens talking to their club. Ward Melville trails 3-0 after 1, but they've been here an awful lot in this Long Island Championship. In 74, they beat Massapequa 15-9. At 76, knocked off Manhasset. 77, lost to Elmont. Cliffhanger, 78, they won over Farmingdale. And in 82, a tremendous game we televised on the LISN. They beat Division 9-8. They beat Farmingdale, another great game at 83, 11-9. Of course, in overtime, sudden death overtime, lost to Manhasset last year, 9-8. So these Long Island Championship games, Doc and Tom Flatley have gone right down to the wire.
Well, they certainly have, especially all the ones Ward Melville's been involved in. They've certainly, and they've also won more than their share of.
Now let's take a look at some of the first quarter stats right here as Carl Reuter has prepared them. Garden City with 8 shots, Melville 3. Garden City with 2 saves, Melville none. Face-offs, Garden City winning 3 and Melville 1. And Garden City right now in command 3-0. But we still have 30 minutes to play here. Let's see who they're using on the face-off, Ward Melville right now. It'll be Kelly working against Krause. Tom Kelly, an excellent face-off man in his own right. Number 10 against Krause, number 21, the junior, one of the best of the country, according to Paul Dougherty and Tom Flatley. And Ward Melville comes up with a nice play by Kelly. Over to his brother. Now this is Mott. As Ward Melville looks to get on the scoreboard. The team that starts slowly occasionally. Got to show the poise and patience. Chip Mayer, whose dad is the basketball coach at Harborfield. What a great job Harborfield did this year, making it to the Suffolk County Championship, losing to Bellport. For the Class A, Mott with a lookout off of Regan. Off of O'Reilly, rather. And back they come. Garden City on the transition. That's Sullivan, 32. Now they'll bring in the other midfielders to play with him. Jerry Craig and Paul Tully, the second unit, comes on. Here's Craig moving in. Drops it back. They swing it now to Hiller. Nice weave that they're employing out there.
I want to see what they do off of it. The weave is nice. Now they have to do something with it.
Now they're going to lose the ball right here as Kelly picks it up, and he has it checked away by Craig. And the speedy Billy Duran picks it up.
Duran's playing attack right now, I think, Barry.
He'll drop it off.
Good look.
Good look out in front. Nice save by Kempton. As the look was made, and Jerry Craig, who had moved up, got the shot off. And a good save that time by Tommy Kempton. There's a look at Jerry Craig. And a reminder, this copyrighted telecast is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission of the use of these pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Cablevision is prohibited. Here's Basile looking out in front. It's batted around. And Ward Melville's Kempton comes up with it finally. Look to clear it here.
They're putting a crowd around Hiller, Barry. It's tough to find him, but some other people they'll start finding.
Well, Farmingdale shut him off quite well the other night. It was the Middies that came through in a tremendous style for Garden City as they scored 5 of their goals in that game. Now Elfine with the big stick. Excellent athlete.